is because this is something that Black Panther is near and dear to me. I'll never forget my experience with this film, 3 years ago now. This past February 16th, ladies and gentlemen, Black Panther celebrated its 3-year anniversary. Obviously, rest in peace to T'Challa and Chadwick Boseman, Ryan Coogler, and that whole damn crew. I think, and people have their flaws with the film, which is fine, but to me, it is easily the most important film of the last decade of the MCU, and it is so important what that film meant to the Black community, to a lot of things, and it is Black History Month, so I definitely want to shine a light on it. So just with the panel, everyone in the chat, starting with you, Amanda, 3 years later, what do you feel about Black Panther and the importance of that film?
Oh, it's monumental. Even like that entire weekend, there was a different buzz going into watching it. Like you have a buzz for a Marvel movie, but this was like completely different. And I actually worked at the theater that entire weekend, and I had so much fun. Everyone was just so freaking happy that this was out, and it was just a great like atmosphere and environment. Also got nominated for Oscars, which is amazing. Yeah. Won some Oscars. The entire cast is fantastic. Everything holds up. I still watch it like 1 or 2 times a year, even more than that. But yeah, Ryan Coogler did a fantastic job, and it was all about storytelling and bringing everyone together. And it's literally top 2 Marvel films. I love it so much, and it's a monumental film. It's very important. So yeah.
No doubt. Chris, man, tossing it to you, man. 3 years later, man, where does Black Panther stand for you, man?
Still haven't gotten around to see it yet, but it's on my weekend. No, I'm joking.
I was like, wait a minute.
He's like,
where?
This is your co-host. I stay strapped with my vibranium. But before Tate's Take, I did movie reviews on Instagram, on my Instagram stories. It's very low budget, so I would just go to the movie every week, AMC Tuesdays. And I would, make a little quick story in my little slides and then talk about the film.
Yeah.
Before that was born, I watched Black Panther, and then I thought the movie was so powerful. I said, I want to talk about this on my Instagram story, and I started making these little clips. So from then, that movie birthed my film career, movie-wise, to then birth this YouTube channel that's now brought me here talking Marvel with you fine folks. So. Yeah. The movie has like a infinite level of impact on me personally, and this is not a huge thing. Obviously, we're just we're having fun with it, but to me, it's a big deal because it's created this network for us. And the biggest thing for me is as Black people, we don't get a lot of content that's just for us. We don't get a lot.
Yeah.
But when something is it's kind of good, everyone runs out. We're pretty good at supporting our own.
Right.
But then sometimes we over support it. We settle for things that are not good quality wise, and we just say, well, it's Black and let's go.
Yeah.
But this had the highest expectations, and it met it and exceeded it. So all these Black people, all the money that it made, like it earned it, and it set a standard that we don't have to settle. And it was good for a Black Marvel movie. It's good for a Black. No. This was a movie that's hanging with the best of Marvel. That's the best of movies, period. That if you've never seen a Marvel movie, you can go and enjoy it a lot. I love Infinity War. I love Endgame. You can't just go in there and just watch that movie without Black Panther.
Yep.
So I can't say enough about that movie. Very, very powerful. Very tragic. Ending, but very confident in the team that they have to continue the story and the importance that they see in continuing the story. Because you could just say you could shut it down and say no, we'll respect it. But there's something to be said of having good that much faith in a studio and minds behind movies to say we trust where you'll take this respectfully. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, well, couldn't agree with you more, man. Q, man, 3 years later, T'Challa, Shuri, T'Chaka, Killmonger, Ryan Coogler, and all those fantastic people brought something pretty special to us, man. What does this film mean to you 3 years later?
To be honest with you, going to the movies all of my life, ever since I can remember seeing the first Superman at the drive-in. When this came out, I had never seen a movement like that, period. Black, white, whatever. Everyone went to go see this. Everyone.
Yep.
And it was something I mean, I've seen people dress up for movies, The Matrix, Star Wars, whatever, but when Black Panther came out, people had dashikis on. There was damn people in the concession stand with drums. No lie. I'm like, what is going on? This is monumental. Every seat sold out. Everybody clapping. I have never seen a movie like that. Now, Endgame might be the highest grossing movie of all time, but that's us. That's a Marvel film. Us going to see it multiple times. But this is personal to me because February, a month before that, my mom had passed away, and my family was down. We was really down, and Black Panther was coming out, and this was the way for us all to get together. And I remember my dad; he was really sad because he has been with his wife for like 20 years, and when we all got together as a family, and I booked out all our seats. I paid for like 8-10 tickets or whatever, and we had the best time sitting there watching Black Panther, on that screen. It was just so magical. It's my favorite Marvel film for sentimental reasons, and then just because I think Ryan Coogler is going to be one of the future GOATs, period. That guy is tremendously talented, and anything he put out, I can't wait to see. Of course, Chadwick Boseman, man. Oh my goodness, he was the hope for a lot, for for Black people as well. That movie, say what you want, like Blade might have started this whole comic book thing that we're in now, but this was something that was, like you said, it was for us, but it was for everybody. People, grandmothers didn't know anything about comic books. They went to support this all Black cast, these beautiful costumes, this beautiful direction, this music. It's a masterpiece. It was nominated for the best picture for a reason. And Black Panther is just a phenomenal film, and it's a very special. And I'm just so happy that I lived through that time to see that type of impact of a film in my lifetime.
Hey man, appreciate you sharing that story, man. And it's well said, Q, and wrapping it to you, Michael.
Yeah,
man.
I got my hair like Killmonger.
Yeah, look, hey auntie, kicking it to you, Michael, man. Just 3 years later, do you remember what it was, when you saw it that night, and the impact it still holds for you 3 years later, man?
I was gonna say, going back to the hair, I guess I'm like the Dora Milaje, because that's all I got. But yeah, like Black Panther, like I freaking love that movie. Like you guys can see, I have my figures behind me. Like I have a whole shelf dedicated to Wakanda. It's nothing but Wakanda figures down there. Oh, dope. So like I freaking love the movie, and then not only just the fact that correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was the first Marvel movie that wasn't an Avengers film that made over $1 billion.
It crushed it at the box office, man.
Crushed it at the box office, and then just the reaction, like it became an event, like you mentioned, people going to the movie theaters with their dashikis and drums and dancing in the theaters, and then not even just Black people, but you saw little white kids dressing up as Black Panther, and like. Especially particularly that year, like in terms of history breaking, it was the first movie and the first time you actually got a Black director directing a movie with over $100 million budget.
Right.
And just the fact that, because a lot of times when you see like, Black sci-fi fantasy movies, they're taken as jokes. Like you think of Meteor Man or Blank Man or Vampire in Brooklyn or anything like that. It's like they're not taken seriously, and it's like this was the first time where you saw a fantasy property with nothing but Black people telling a story with Black faces, not even just in front of the camera, but behind the camera, with not just Ryan Coogler, but the set director, the producers, costume designers, all of it. And it's just like I love going back and watching the movie, and it's it sucks and it's sad that we had the unfortunate passing of Chadwick Boseman, and like when celebrities and stuff like that, like when they pass, like it doesn't really, because it's like I don't know them. I just know the persona that they like. The death of Chadwick Boseman for me will kind of be like 9/11, where I always will know where I was when I heard about it. Yeah, like I was on my way. I was driving to work when my friend texted me and told me that Chadwick Boseman passed, and I was like, he's lying, whatever. Like, it's one of those rumors, like, you always hear like, oh, this celebrity died, and then you find out it wasn't true. So I was like, he's lying, whatever. So I put my phone down and I kept driving. And then when I finally got to work and found out that it was true, like, I started spiraling, because then I started going back and watching those old videos of like when he was on Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, and people were like talking to, I don't know if you guys saw that video, where people were talking to the poster, what Black Panther meant, and then he came out. Like, I broke that. Like, I had to go into the back, like, because I was crying the whole night at work, and I didn't think it would hit me that hard. I really did. I was like, I started laughing at myself. I'm like, why are you don't know this man? Like, why are you crying? But I just didn't realize how much like the movie and the show and just what it meant, because I'm big on representation. That's a lot of what I talk. That's why I call myself Black Gay Comic Geek, because I want to put out there, because you also don't know who's watching you. Like, you don't know how many messages I've got from people saying like, just thank you for being open and proud of who you are. Like, that gives me confidence and things like that. So like, just that alone, like, it affected me. So Wakanda forever,
man. Hey, Michael, Q, Amanda, and Chris, I appreciate you guys sharing that. Again, to me, it's something I'll never forget. It's a movie that will always be near and dear to me. Again, Chadwick Boseman, that loss hit me too. More though, Kobe and Chadwick, man, those were two that just like, it felt like I lost a family member from, not to sound too dramatic, but they were two people that icons, and Chadwick Boseman is a fantastic actor. His legacy will always be remembered. And so glad that he was able to portray T'Challa, the king of the MCU. And 3 years later, still one of my favorites. It is extremely hard to revisit that film with Chadwick Boseman passing, but every time I watch it, I just think of the legacy he left and the amazing performance that he gave. And the continuation of that character will be something I look forward to seeing Ryan Coogler and the rest of that team kind of continue that legacy. But 3 years, man, it's one of the best, as you guys said, Wakanda forever. But that was, again, there's not too much to kind of go over. There was the Marvel's Assemble news that came out about behind the scenes, and we got the, all that. So again, we're wrapping up on 3 hours. I don't want to keep my guests too long.
I have a real quick question for everybody though. Do you think, like, even though they already said they're not going to recast, do you think they should? Like, are you okay with the decision?
Yeah, we've had on a couple different live streams, because the rumor came up that Eric Killmonger is going to be brought back, and we talked about that, and obviously Shuri. But again, man, if you want to go ahead and to answer this question, just kind of your thoughts on the recasting of
I don't want them to recast him at all. It was his story, it's his role. No one can ever fill his shoes with that character. So I'm happy that they're just going to leave him be, and like, that's his legacy. It belongs to him, that character. So yeah, they have multiple characters that they can focus on in the future. I just don't think that they should touch him at all.
Chris, man, your thoughts on T'Challa being recasted?
Yeah, for sure. And lucky for us, it's like, it's not a character that needs to be recast. We watched the movie. We understand that, you inherit these gifts, and you get the power of the Black Panther. So, the story can be told through someone else. It's not like, this is Iron Man and, you just give someone else the suit. It's like, this is how the Wakandans, like, that's how they did it. So they can, I trust them to make the story well. I like the Shuri angle down the line. Don't need to see Michael B. Jordan as Black Panther. I trust what they do with it.
Q, man, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think leave it be. I think leave that man's legacy where it is. To be honest with you, it's bigger than like the Wakanda is bigger than the character and what he brought and how much hope he brought to people. Oh man, it's forever. It's forever. I mean, if you tarnish that by recasting it by anybody saying this college it's just not gonna hit like that. Just continue the story. But the TV show is so much to explore within this universe that I think you just leave his legacy be, man. And rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther. We love you forever.
To bring it to your own question there, Michael, what's your thoughts on the recasting, man? Do you think it's
something? I find it interesting. I actually come at it from the other side, where I think they should. I think they should recast. And the reason I say that, well, I trust what they're doing, and I definitely feel like whatever Marvel does, whether they were going to recast or not, they are in a position that I wouldn't want anybody to be in. And while I don't necessarily think they should recast for the second movie, And do like they did in the have Shuri take on the mantle, maybe Okoye take on, because the way they portray Shuri in the movie isn't necessarily the way they didn't portray her as the warrior that she is in the comic. She's more on the tech side, so maybe Okoye could take on and be the Black Panther. So yeah, like for the second movie, no, I don't think you should recast. But at the same time, I do kind of feel like the role, like not Black Panther, but T'Challa, I kind of feel like that's bigger than the actor. And while I do think he killed the role, and he played, he was the king. His role was iconic, and then he brought, not even just in terms of the acting of it, but the behind the scenes aspect that he brought to the show. Because at one point, Marvel wanted the Wakandans to speak in a British accent, and Chadwick Boseman was like, "You're not doing that. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, especially when you get to the history of Wakanda being like the only uncolonized place of. Why would they speak in British accents?" So yeah, even with the behind the scenes stuff, but at the same time, I'll look at it from like you think of Spartacus, when Andy Whitfield, who was Spartacus when he died from I think he had leukemia. What they did is they did a season of Spartacus. They did a prequel without him, but then they cast Liam McIntyre. And it's not about recasting and replacing. It's about carrying on the banner of a race that he's no longer able to finish. And while Andy Whitfield and Liam McIntyre, they both played Spartacus. It was a different type of Spartacus, but they were both equally good.
Right. And
I just feel like the character is way too important to not continue with him.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you, Michael. Not that all time heals wounds, but I'm totally in the same boat with you with Black Panther 2, not addressing who's the king of Wakanda, but instead protecting Wakanda from Dr. Doom, Namor, and all that stuff. And then we have a Wakanda TV show that can maybe build up Shuri as the queen of Wakanda, and then Black Panther 3, either Shuri in the role. We'll see what happens with Michael B. Jordan, but also, as you just mentioned, having a new T'Challa. And that could be 5 years from now. And again, appreciating, admiring what Chadwick Boseman in the role. And I don't want to speak for the man. I am safe to assume that Chadwick Boseman will want the legacy of T'Challa to carry on for generations to come, for other Black kids and girls and boys to see that character on the big screen. It would be like, Christopher Reeve's, having another Superman, Heath Ledger passing away as a Joker, and not having Joaquin Phoenix Joker or Jared Leto's Joker.
Those are way different, though.
Yeah, very true, because they're very different. They weren't the leads of their movies and things of that nature. But I would like to see eventually, not right away, not Black Panther 2, but eventually I would like to see maybe someone else take on that mantle and give them an opportunity to be what Chadwick Boseman meant to the Black community and carrying on that legacy and even creating their own legacy. And like you just mentioned with Spartacus, bringing something even different to the role that even pays homage to Chadwick Boseman, but also pays, homage to that actors and their sensibilities. So we'll see. And again, like you said, Michael, if it was, and as I say this, DC is my favorite. I love Marvel, but I'm a DC guy. If this was DC handling this, I would be so scared of what they would do with it. They are just so I would hate this to be in their court.
They would
DC can't even handle